Hi, welcome to True Crime Talk. I'm Kathleen, and I have sort of a fun true crime story for this weekend. And also, it is Memorial Day weekend in America, so happy Memorial Day to all the veterans and the current military members, and to all the family members of current military members and of veterans, and to all the caretakers of veterans. Thank you for your service and welcome home. The story I'm going to be talking about today. It's a story about a woman named Tiffany Slaton. She happens to be from my state of Georgia. Um, and apparently, she went missing in the California mountains while she was, I guess, on a hike or a camping trip or whatever. And when she was found, it was a great story of survival. But then people started questioning her story because apparently people who are outdoorsmen and outdoor women know that her story or believe that her story doesn't make sense. So now people are questioning it. So I mean, she's not a criminal. She hasn't committed a crime. Well, unless she lied to authorities and they spent resources, time, and money to find her. Obviously, that I guess technically is a crime. So I guess she could technically one day be charged with a crime if she made up her story. And then also she did GoFundMe, and I don't know if that would be considered fraud or they just have to give the money back to the people who donated. But I thought this would be kind of a fun story because it doesn't involve anything bad. Nobody dies in this story, but ever so often somebody, for whatever reasons, will make up a story and it'll become a big news thing, and then we will find out that it was all a lie. Kind of like that case also from California where Sherry Papini went missing, but she wasn't kidnapped. She just went off with her boyfriend or something like that. So this story is about a missing woman was found against the odds in the California mountains. Now people are doubting her story. Tiffany Slaton, 28, of Georgia, reportedly survived for 3 weeks in the wilderness eating wild leeks, which I think are like onions, boiling snow melt for water, and even surviving 13 snowstorms despite losing both her tent and her sleeping bag. This story was written Friday, May 23rd, by the way. It says, wearing a pair of dark sunglasses, Tiffany Slaton stood in front of a room of reporters and recounted the grueling details of her against-the-odds survival in the California mountains. After setting out on a 3-day hiking trip in the Huntington Lake region, the 28-year-old hiker from Georgia claims she fell off a cliff and was unconscious for 2 hours and needed to put her leg in a splint. She began trekking in search of help after her GPS was unable to provide a route back to the main road, but which could locate a Starbucks, which was 18 miles away, she said. Slayton disappeared on April 20th, but reportedly survived for some 3 weeks in the wilderness. I didn't hear about her story about her going missing until actually the day she was found. That's when I first learned of this story. So she apparently had been missing for 3 weeks before that. So reportedly survived for some 3 weeks in the wilderness, eating wild leeks, boiling snow, melt for water, and even surviving 13 snowstorms despite losing both her tent and her sleeping bag in her fall. And that's her right there. That's Tiffany Slaton in the sunglasses. And I remember when I first saw her on the news, that the thing that I thought was, oh, well, she's wearing her sunglasses at the news conference. Why not take them off? But then I thought, well, some people like to wear sunglasses just to hide their eyes for whatever reason. Some people, they may be prescription sunglasses and like prescription glasses and sunglasses in one. If she's an outdoorsy type person, she may have prescription outdoor glasses. And so, but anyway, I've never seen her with her sunglasses off except in pictures. She was found by authorities in a cabin on May 14th. I ended up on this very long, arduous journey that I journaled to try and keep sane and eventually managed to get to civilization, Slaton told reporters at the conference 2 days later. I haven't really gone through all of the details. I ran out of a lot of food after 5 days, but I will do my best to answer any questions that you may have. But while authorities and Slaton's family were overjoyed at her safe return, many others have raised their eyebrows at the veracity of her tale. Something's very off about this story. I don't believe her at all, wrote one user in reply to the press conference posted on the Fresno County Sheriff's Facebook page. I think she's just looking for fame or money. Added another, I'm sorry, not sorry. This lady put a lot of lives at risk by being reckless with her own. She is not a hero, and people should not glorify her or her story as one. I'm glad to see that other people don't believe this story, added a third. So many things don't add up. I hope this office investigates fully since resources were used. It's embarrassing to think people believe someone fell off a cliff, survived 2 hours unconscious, guess she was timing it, popped her knee back into place, and traveled 20 miles after splinting her leg. A GoFundMe page for Slaton, organized by her family, was shut down on Monday after raising more than $23,500. Her parents said there had been negative feedback that has arose from these events. It has taken a lot to endure the attacks and attention asking for help has brought us, Slaton's mother, Fredrina Slaton, wrote on GoFundMe. According to the Fresno County Sheriff, Slaton's family reported her missing on April 29th after not hearing from her for 9 days. The fundraiser was started a week later and continued to accept donations for a while after she was found. Tony Body, a spokesperson for the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, said that the department is still investigating various elements of Slaton's story, including her exact route and how her phone was able to access GPS while she could not call 911. Well, that's odd. We can only work with the information she told us because there are no other independent witnesses, Body said in a statement to the Los Angeles Times. If there are inaccuracies or embellishments, we really can't do anything about it. Fresno County Sheriff John Zanoni called Slaton's journey an incredible story of perseverance, determination, and survival, saying it is something that you may see on TV that they would make movies about. Let's see, there's 3 comments on this story. Let's see what they say. It's completely possible for a phone to get a GPS signal from a satellite yet not receive a mobile phone signal from a mast that's behind a mountain. One is a vertical signal, the other is pretty much horizontal. Plenty of white people have been in similar situations but not questioned. Oh, okay, so they're making this racial. I don't think it has anything to do with race. I just think some people don't honestly believe her story, especially people who are experienced outdoor people. They seem to have a problem with her full story of all the things she said that happened to her. Let's see. Nobody would question the story if it were a white man telling it, just saying. Well, I don't agree with that, but me. Let's see. I would if it was Trump. Sorry you said white, my mistake. Okay, so people are being political and racial and all that. But I think people honestly don't believe her story because it doesn't make sense to them because like outdoor people have been saying the things she said happened to her. There's just no possible way that all of that happened like she said. Now it could be she was really lost and things happened, but maybe she embellished the story. Maybe she's, the type of person who likes to embellish a bit, and so she exaggerated some things maybe.
Cooperation, but some say the story she shared just doesn't add up. Thanks for joining us tonight for Action News. I'm Warren Armstrong.
And I'm Vanessa Vasconcelos in for Margot Kim. Tiffany Slaton's family tells us the 28-year-old is now recovering out of public view following her ordeal and online scrutiny over the weekend. Action News reporter Gabe Ferris brings us the questions surrounding Slaton's story and her father's response today.
Tiffany Slaton's survival in the Sierra has been hailed a miracle, but it's also sparked suspicion.
When I saw her story, that's when I first went, something's not adding up right here.
Seasoned outdoorsman Jeff Aiello skeptical from the start when Slaton took to the cameras last week to describe her ordeal.
Hello. I didn't really come up with anything that's super planned for this. It's literally only been 2 days.
You don't need a blanket on you in a press conference like that. That was a warning flag for me.
Aiello probes Slaton's story, starting with the avalanche she says blocked her path and turned a vacation into a nightmare.
There's no avalanche in the Sierra this time of the year or in late April. The conditions don't exist for it.
According to the National Weather Service, there was little to no snowpack at the time, but there were at least 2 systems that brought snowfall. Slaton's entire journey lasted nearly a month, and for 15 days she was officially lost. Her parents in Georgia hadn't heard from her, and Slaton said repeated calls to 911 failed.
There was no service. She couldn't get a call to 911, but then right after that asked Siri where the closest Starbucks was.
Eventually got mad at my GPS and decided to ask, well, where's the nearest Starbucks? He was like, oh, well, we can answer that question. It's 18 miles from here.
Siri doesn't work unless you have connectivity.
Slaton eventually discovered a cabin near Lake Edison, and reports of her rescue made national headlines. We asked Slaton's father about his daughter's story over the phone Monday. Does he believe it? My daughter doesn't give false statements to us or to anybody, he said. We're 100% behind her. We also asked about the naysayers. The fact of the matter is, they weren't there, he said. They weren't in the situation. Tiffany Slaton's parents have since closed a GoFundMe established for their daughter. We've also learned that the Fresno County Sheriff's Office has retraced some of Slaton's path and found evidence to validate her story. The family is now actively talking with investigators. Gabe Ferris, ABC 30 Action News.
So that was one of the news stories regarding her disappearance and being found. But some of the comments are funny because a lot of people, at least on this video, in this comment section, they obviously they don't believe her. But let's see what some people say. It says 2 avalanches, a dozen snowstorms, 4 leaks, and 20 feet of snow, fell off a cliff, splinted her leg, and popped her other knee back into place, and then hiked miles and miles, lost not only 1 but 2 sleeping bags and her tent without saying how it happened, found pre-made leather heels that perfectly fit her supposed ballerina feet, saw bears and coyotes, but apparently they didn't do anything, was going to die the exact day she was rescued, so good thing they found her that day. Such crap, laugh out loud. I'm glad others are questioning it and the news reported on it. And somebody says, her account is doubtful. Something else happened. I have never seen leeks in that area. I know what they look like. I have seen and eaten wild onions in that area. And then they give a description of what wild leeks are. I live close enough to the area to know that there have not been 13 storms in that area. The people would actually live or commute daily to that area say the same. Her story is falling apart on many levels. Our caveman ancestors did not winter over at these elevations. The native California Indians certainly did not spend winter in the high Sierras. They spent winters at low elevations. Not many calories in what you mentioned, mushroom and bugs, and maybe a dead deer carcass. Maybe she snared a rabbit, all high in protein but low in calories. There's even a term called rabbit starvation, tasting green shoots at random. Most will taste so bad that you can't choke them down. Some will get you their trots. Most acorns and nuts need to be leached to be palatable and digestible. Fish would be your best option. I doubt that her skills are as she claims. It's a fairy tale, my friends. This whole story was BS the second her mouth started moving. The dagger that killed this story was the GoFundMe, that shady what we raising money for, snow gear to protect against the avalanche in May. The Vermilion Valley Resort bill for 10 nights accommodation plus food, drinks, and a tip. I like these comments. Other sections in YouTube were saying this would make a great movie. She's a hero, etc. Wait a minute. And this comment says, none of the story makes sense, and why was the gut reaction of the family to start a GoFundMe? And then somebody replies, exactly, what was the purpose? This comment says, calling BS on this story. This says, what I find weird is why anyone got suspicious of her wearing a blanket at a press conference. So what? Why would she, though? Anxiety, sensory processing issues, low thyroid, get cold on the spot, and had no sweater or jacket, emotionally stunted. I think she just wanted to give that effect out that she just got rescued. Laugh out loud. It was 2 days later. So some people, think her wearing a blanket over her at the press conference was weird. And then other people disagree. She should have added that it was Bigfoot that guided her to the nearest Starbucks after GPS located the Starbucks. And then laughing, smiley faces, laugh out loud, thinking she was his relative. Okay, that was a rude comment. Maybe it's a shawl, not a blanket. Did anybody weigh her? 3 weeks with nothing to eat but raw onions would have made her a very skinny victim. Now, that's a logical comment. Did she lose a lot of weight during those 3 weeks that she was, eating wild leeks? That's what I noticed too. She looks too healthy for someone who went through such an ordeal. And somebody says, well, she's either an influencer planning to monetize this story or a person from Georgia who doesn't know anything about California mountain weather and the difference between an avalanche and a light snow. That's possible. Like I said, maybe she embellished, or she used the word avalanche when it really wasn't avalanche. For sure, this does not add up. The plants she claimed to eat don't grow where she was. This is a wonderful family, and this is hurting them. There were only a few locals searching in the area Tiffany actually went missing in, and they did not give up, even when the search was called off. Those locals familiar with the area spotted signs of Tiffany and documented it in real time to the sheriffs. This is sadly all true. It is a miracle she survived, and yes, those searchers have pics where the road landslide occurred and many more. I didn't know black folks even went camping or took hikes in nature, so that right there is a red flag. Okay, they're being a smartass, so I won't finish reading that. A tale of events is all this is. This is what's wrong with Fresno. A bunch of negative sideliners with someone to drag. Shame on Channel 30 for airing it. 229, it should have ended as soon as the sheriff's department confirmed her story. Not adding up. Good, this is coming out. If she didn't break any laws, what does it matter? Yeah, it's not the crime of the century if she did, but I mean, it is bad that to lie to authorities and have people out looking for you, because somebody could get hurt and actually die while they're looking for you. And if you're just sitting somewhere pretending like pretending like you're lost and suffering, and you're really not, you're just sitting there waiting until the time is right for you to be found, so you can get in the news, or like somebody said, end up making money off of this somehow. That's not good. So somebody responds to this. She jeopardized search and rescue and wasted money and resources. She wasted money and resources for the media. The press conference wasted time and money. Who says she was lost to a family who was looking for her? To some, truth is important. Others want to believe in fairy tales. Just now raising questions? All you have to do is look at her response on the gurney when getting put in the ambulance. And then somebody replies, she was happy as a clown with the attention. Somebody else says she was not ill or injured. She was very happy to be found and alive, as anyone would be. Then this commenter says she's a liar. We've seen her talking to herself in the area for 30-ish minutes. She is legit crazy. Okay, so people are saying that she might have mental health issues, and that could be very true if she did something like this, if she did lie. And this says maybe she isn't a liar. If she's schizophrenic, she would believe those things happened to her. If she's bipolar and going through a manic episode, she can't help what comes out of her mouth. And then they respond back, yeah, well, maybe, but I know she started a GoFundMe after she got found, and her parents got it shut down pretty quick. I think she did it on purpose and wasted taxpayers' money to do it. And they responded back, it could be. I'm very intrigued by this story. She thinks she's Caucasian and she's getting the attention she wanted. Okay, I don't like them. Everything got to be about race. That's one thing I hate about this world. Everything's about politics and race. And I try not to have that on my channel, just to get away from it. I'm just so sick of it all. And the GoFundMe cash, what does this comment even mean? Okay, it really doesn't. This comment says she made it all up in order to maybe get rich. This one says, laugh out loud, I knew it. It's when I was watching her press conference, it seemed odd. It just seemed weird, but people are different. People talk different. It's just, it didn't make sense to me, but I'm not an expert outdoor person. So, and I've never been to California, so I have no idea. They have avalanches this time of year. Fake. Yeah, this is 100% sketch. What a crock. She made up the whole thing for the publicity and the GoFundMe. A tale of events is all this is. So obviously the majority of commenters on this video, at least, think her story doesn't add up. This right here is the actual GoFundMe. It was shut down, but it says the donations feature is closed, but kind words are welcomed, and they raised over $23,000. And it was started. The GoFundMe was started before she was found. It says missing adult at risk, and this is her picture, what her tent looked like, and her bicycle. And it says, Tiffany has been found. We are in need of financial help for any and all expenses while we are in California. If you have the means to help, we would appreciate any small and large help. Once Tiffany is found, all excess and funds will be given to her for medical help. There's some more pictures of her. So, did Tiffany really go missing? Is her story true? Or did she make it up with the intent to either raise money through a GoFundMe, get rich quick, maybe, like somebody said, become like a influencer of some type and get, I don't know, some kind of financial deals? Did she just like attention? Did she just want some attention? I have no idea. But the story does sound kind of suspect to me too. Video of her press conference from 13 WMAZ. I will link it below, but I won't play the whole video. But look at some of the comments here and see what they say. Okay, this person says, this lady is crazy, and the fact that y'all believe this story is more crazy. She wanted attention from the world, and she got it. And somebody replied, nobody believes it. Why do you say she's crazy? I think she's neurodiverse, not crazy. The police set her narcissistic behind up by this big show press conference. It's an interrogation. They're letting her lie to everyone in the open. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's true. Like, a lot of times the police like to, do press conferences about successful stories, about good stories, because, there's always so much bad news about police and crime and stuff. So I think sometimes they just like to do positive press conferences for for the attention and to get good attention for their sheriff's department or police department or whatever, and for all the people who searched for her or rescued her. So it's not necessarily they're setting her up, but it is possible that if she lies or they catch her in lies or something, that they could investigate and possibly charge her with something later on. Now, it couldn't. And this happened in California, and it could be the state of California takes these kind of crimes more seriously than they used to. I think, like with a case like Sherry Papini, I think though she wasn't actually charged with state charges at all. I think it was totally federal charges that she ended up getting charged with. I know she went to federal prison for a little bit. So I don't think the state actually went after her because, California is kind of lenient with a lot of criminals. So, I mean, could the state be trying to investigate to catch her in some lies, to put some charges on her for fraud or for making false statements to police or something like that? Because they did use, resources and time and effort to look for her and find her and supposedly rescue her. This comment says, exactly, they are letting the citizens roast her. Nailed it. Yep. Wonder if that's true. Like they knew at the time they did this, if the police think or knew that she's not telling the truth, but they just let her. I mean, police do that, but I mean, would they do it in this case? It's not a murder case. It's just, a case where a woman claimed to have been disappeared. But they did search for her a long time. I did not know about this case until she was found, but apparently in California, they've been searching for her for weeks. About, 3 weeks? So that's a lot of resources. I survived on leaks for the last 2 years and I've put on weight consistently. I also am a pugilist coach by trade and run marathons on my tippy toes due to a birth defect. I was struck by lightning on the tip of my tongue, which coincidentally gave me magic bean powers. So they're obviously being sarcastic. Okay, just like Carly Russell, black folks are silent on this, waiting for the Tubi movie. And Carly Russell was a young woman from Alabama who disappeared and said that she was kidnapped, and she ended up being charged because it was a lie, and police spent a lot of time and resources looking for her, but she wasn't kidnapped. She was like Sherry Papini. She wasn't kidnapped or a victim of a crime. She just disappeared on her own, apparently purposely to for attention or whatever. Once I started watching this is the first thing that came to my mind. They are setting us back. This comment says, very smart of police to have this taped press conference. Otherwise, the police would be accused of not believing her. She said, fell off cliff, unconscious for 2 hours, splinted leg, dislocated knee, avalanche, 2 landslides, couldn't connect but Googled location of nearest Starbucks, ran out of food after 5 days, traveling, dialysis tech, archery coach, trained, permaculturalist, and I don't know what that is. Permaculturalist, forged for leaks, lost tent, lost vestibule, lost 2 sleeping bags, ballerina syndrome, unable to keep heels on ground, so wore heels made out of leather as hiking shoes. 13 heavy snowstorms, pre-Olympian for archery, number 2 in the islands for archery, Bermudian American, so she drank tea every day due to her Britishness, constipated, GoFundMe for her recovery process. Clearly mental issues, parents not right either. And people are agreeing with that statement 100. I love this summary. Tiffany spoke more about her self-perceived achievements and talents than the event. Parents appearing sheepish, knowing her mental fall is coming after this manic high. I'm trying to imagine the car ride home. She needs help. Then she says, she ain't even normal American according to her. Laugh out loud. She's British Bermudian with perfect American dialect. She has a grandiose sense of self-importance, elevating herself from ordinary people. Wow. Then the lady comments, is there nothing this superwoman can't do? Laugh out loud. She has been hired to lead expeditions to Everest in a bikini. I could have saved wasting 45 minutes of my life and just read the comments. At least I believe what other people are saying here. The Starbucks story killed me. I would really like to see the actual location trail from her phone. I hope law enforcement investigates this case further and reveals the truth. Bullseye, no pun intended. And nutritionist, A plus. Although I agree that was an odd thing to search for instead of a ranger station, medic, or other authority, there are actually 2 Starbucks about that distance away or slightly more. You can see them on Google Maps, but it doesn't seem like she headed for either one. Amazing that anyone could survive so long with a harsh wilderness of the BS range. You've nailed it. Agreed, they set her up real good and she fell for it. They got her now on video. I read your comment during the beginning of the video and thought you were being sarcastic, but holy S, you nailed it. None of them should seem right now. That's normal. You win, Jesse Smollett Adventure. There are 2 fire stations near each end of Huntington Lake that are closer. Good point. I think she said one was 18 miles away. Also include daily journaling. Was she dropped by helicopter for this ridiculous psyop? How did she get there? And they just happened to own a micro farm where she learned all the foraging stuff. Yeah, okay. And a partridge in a pear tree. Facts. Gimme, gimme, gimme is the only word they truly understand. What a joke. She's lying, and if you listen closely to the 2 officers' responses, they definitely know it. Okay, so people think the police let her do the press conference. I'm sure the media demanded it because it was like a, you know, popular story when she was found. So the media wanted a press conference. So maybe the police didn't do it to set her up. They just did it because the media wanted it, so they went along with it. Or it could be they're investigating her seriously, and this is an investigative tool. They just let her go up there and say everything she had to say on camera for evidence. Okay, this comment says, I was a SAR ground searcher for a while. She is lying her behind off. None of this is right. I've actually dislocated my kneecap in the wilderness. I have a bad ligament, and it hurts like heck for weeks after. You are going to stand there and tell me you dislocated and put your own knee back into place, then was coherent enough afterwards to splint your other leg, so you're putting all your weight onto your just previously dislocated knee? Nah, not in 100 years. So obviously this person doesn't believe her at all. And then this commenter agrees with him. Yeah, I agree. It is possible to dislocate your knee and pop it back in yourself, but you don't just get up and keep walking. My leg was so bruised and sore, and yeah, I almost puked when I had to pop it back in. It's possible, but her story is not plausible. Don't forget she was pushing an e-bike around that may have had a trailer and high-heeled hiking boots, no less. We won't charge as press. Sick of people doing this and wasting resources, putting people in danger. Yeah, that's true. It seems like a lot of people do this these days, lie to the police for and the media to get attention and raise money or whatever. This is some major BS. Her story does not make any sense, and her explanations sound like pure fantasy. She had to splint one of her legs, but she's fine to demonstrate her ballerina syndrome on stage for everyone. Wait a minute, a trained permaculturist who teaches rural people how to forage in order to avoid going to the grocery store had a Dunkaroos cookie packet as part of her ration but survived off of wild leeks because she was saving the cookies for her birthday? Oh boy. That's a perfect tall tale detail. Did she take a class on this? So as you can see, most people don't believe her. This woman says, I could be wrong, but this is giving strong Sherry Papini. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Carly Russell vibes. Time will tell. This says, True Crime Loser brought me here. Anyone else? Apparently that's a YouTube channel. After listening to Scott describe this press conference, I'm laughing. Her story is straight up unbelievable, literally. OMG, from 32:39 to 32:55, 16 seconds. We go from doctors say expensive 50-50 chance at recovery to I haven't talked to any doctors and just need time to rest, but you know that's expensive. Oh, yeah, so the money thing, like things are expensive, I need money. Locals here are saying she was in the fully stocked cabin for 7 to 10 days. There's no way she didn't hear the SAR helicopter flying overhead. There's very little snow in the open, only in the shaded areas. All she had to do was walk out into the open and SAR would have seen her. She hid there until Chris showed up and found her. The cop behind her can't roll his eyes hard enough. Oh, God. So, yeah, so if you're really, you need to watch her press conference and decide for yourself. Let's see. She was at that cabin the whole effing time. She was in too good of shape and smiling when they found her. Am I the only one who doesn't believe this? Fake AF. I'm watching an SNL skit, which is Saturday Night Live. No, this isn't real, neither the girl nor the parents. So some people think the parents are like in on it or something. I don't know. Maybe, that maybe they honestly believe their daughter. Some parents don't want to believe their kids would lie like this. Riding an Electric City commuter into the Sierra Nevada at the beginning of spring is the dumbest thing I have heard in a hot minute. By this time in conference, she's been to a hospital, recovered, showered, and wearing new clothes, yet wrapped in a blanket and needs sunglasses still. She said she damaged her leg so badly she had to make a splint, yet she's fully recovered from it with no visible damage remaining. She ate leeks and ice water for 3 weeks and lived without shelter for most of 3 weeks, yet blood tests are perfect. She fell off a cliff so steep she lost all her gear, couldn't recover any of it, and so far down she couldn't reach back up the trail, yet she escaped with a couple of scratches and walked 45 miles through brush with no issues. Says she found cabin and was going to die that day if the cabin owner had not found her. Okay, anyone? No. She seems like she was starved for attention. She's loving this. Wow, that's a weird personality trait or personality disorder or mental health condition for people who need attention so much that they would go to these links. It's odd. She survived 13 snowstorms, one avalanche, two landslides, and a fall off a cliff, and she looks like she just got out of bed. Ha ha ha, the fact that people believe her is amazing. Well, apparently a lot of people don't believe her. Laughing my behind off. Come on, why did they let her talk? This has to be a hoax, or this click chick isn't all there. This was a hoax for financial gain. There are so many inaccuracies in her story, and I hope she gets busted for fraud. So obvious she is lying. Something is off with this story. I'm getting Sherry Papini type vibes regardless. Glad she is safe and reunited with family. Ballerina syndrome, avalanche, two landslides, fell off cliff. How does she go that far in a rough terrain on tippy toes? Fake AF, Britishness, what the F? As a British person living in England, I wouldn't make tea from pine cones. I'd knock it on the head and get a cuppa when I go home. She needs to return to Narnia where this actually took place. Okay, sunglasses makes it easier to lie. I don't believe this crock. Next case. That's what I was thinking, but some people just wear sunglasses for whatever reasons. But there is a true crime case where this woman was murdered while she was sitting in her car. She was shot to death in the state where I live. And they interviewed the husband, and he was wearing sunglasses. And I'm thinking, he's hiding something. He has something to hide. He was wearing sunglasses in the house. He did the interview, but he was wearing sunglasses the whole time. And I'm thinking he's hiding something, that he's wearing the sunglasses because he can't keep a straight face, or he needs to hide his eyes because he thinks people will be able to tell that he's lying. I don't know. I'm just very suspicious of people who wear sunglasses when they're being questioned about serious things like murder. Okay, this says, I was believing this woman until I watched this. Now I have to say I think she's lying. 10:25 to 10:31. She laughs after affirming the reporter's question. So you were saved just in time? Classic duping delight that she simply cannot hold in whatsoever. So apparently some of these commenters are, like experts, or think they're experts at uh, reading people's, what do you call it, mannerisms and faces. And they know that she's lying because she's exhibiting signs of it. Is it heroic to go foolishly exploring by yourself in difficult terrain? No. The idea of being a hero is taking a serious risk to yourself to help someone else. I'm glad she was rescued, but calling her a hero makes no sense. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why anybody called her a hero. Even when she was found, she chose to go out by herself, and she chose to be in the area she was. So, the people who searched for her and found her, supposedly found her, I don't think she was lost technically, are the heroes for, possibly risking themselves to find somebody else. Me, when I came back from summer break and told the entire class I won a model contract in Paris. She's trolling everyone. Mental health is real. What is happening? Why is this happening? How bizarre and obviously BS is this entire situation. I'm sorry, I don't believe this. Sell it to someone else. One time I fell off a mountain from the top to the bottom. My kneecap fell off halfway down and I had to crawl back up and get it. Ran into a pack of bears, killed them, took the bear kneecap and put it in. I'm 10% bear now. That's how I survived 10 dozen snowstorms. All right, so obviously, and this comment says, she doesn't look gaunt or thinner from eating leeks only. So obviously, I would say the majority of commenters, at least on these two videos, do not believe her. This is her press conference video. Do not believe her. I don't know. You can watch the press conference for yourself and decide. I personally think she's not telling the truth either. Maybe she actually did really get lost, but everything else was a lie. Or maybe the whole thing's totally a lie. Maybe it was planned from the beginning, a premeditated disappearance and GoFundMe fundraiser thing. I don't know, but all I can say is at least nobody got hurt in this true crime story.